students, how many of you often write a diary? Is there anyone who wants to become an astronaut and travel the whole space? Well, we all have different dreams, and those who fulfill their dream is a real hero. So moving on to the summary of this chapter. The story is about a space traveler named Professor Trilokeshwar Shonku. He wrote his experiences in the form of writing in his diary. The author got this diary from Tarak Chatterjee and shared the experiences and adventures of space of Professor Trilokeshwar Shonku. When the author got the diary, he was surprised to see the color of the ink had been green the first time, but later it was red. The author put it in his pocket and went on the way of his home. He reached home after a while. His heart skipped a beat when he opened the diary at home. The ink was now blue, and before his very eyes it turned to yellow. The author got frightened and the diary fell from his trembling hands. His dog caught it by his teeth, but amazingly his teeth could not do any damage to the diary. The author tried to pull a page out and realized that the paper was impossible to tear. It was like an elastic. Then he lit a stove and dropped the diary into the naked flames. Surprisingly, nothing happened except the color of the ink changed. On the same night, the author read the diary and he was asking the readers to decide that what he had read was true or false, possible or impossible. In his diary, Shonku wrote each and every event according to date. The first page of the diary started from 2nd January. On 2nd January, he worried about his day of departure in space. The closer the date of his departure, the more he was getting excited. But later, he started thinking of his servant Prahlad, whom he wanted to take in the space. He thought if his mission fails, it would be because of his loyal but not too intelligent servant Prahlad. On 5th January, Shonku was tired of Prahlad's actions. He thought that he had been with him from last 27 years, but his brain did not function well. At last, he decided to take Prahlad into the space. He thought that Prahlad was a fool, but it would be useful to take him along because sometimes slow and foolish people can show more courage than clever ones. He calculated the weights of all the things and people to take him along. A rocket can take anything up to 500 kg. He thought that Prahlad's weight was 62 kg, his Robert Bidushekar's weight was 90 kg, his own weight was 58 kg, and all the other materials weighed another 60 kg. On 8th January, he had decided to take his cat Newton with him because of his miserable mewing sound. The author assumed that the cat knew that his time of departure was quite close. On 21st January, Shanku and his companion left the earth 7 days ago. He had taken enough food to last for 5 years. His cat Newton used to eat more than once a week. One fish pill is good enough for him to last 7 days. Shanku had taken special pills for Prahlad and himself, which was able to get rid from hunger and thirst for 24 hours. He had taken 2 lakh such pills with him. Newton was not used to live in limited space, so she became restless during the first few days. But finally, she sat on a desk quietly and staring outside to see black sky and less bright stars and planets. On 28th January, Shanku taught his robot Bidushekar to speak. The robot started learning some new words. He tried to speak the word good. Shanku saw the planet Mars from his rocket. He was looking as big as a grapefruit. He thought that they would be there in another month. Then he found some blue patches on the planet. He initially thought that it would be water. Now he thought that he had no doubt about the life on Mars. He had no idea whether life will be large or small, peaceful or violent, and also about the creatures of Mars. Then the day came when they landed on Mars. Shanku wrote his diary on a yellow rock. He saw that everything was opposite of what they see on Earth. The trees, the ground, stones and rocks were soft like rubber. The color of river was red. Its water looked like a clear guava jelly. The grass, trees and plants were blue in color and the sky was green. He did not see even a single living creature there. The atmosphere of Mars was mysterious and frightening. The cold wind froze up the fatty tissues of bones of Shanku. Shanku did not want to drink the water of river, but when he saw Newton was drinking it, then he also drank a mouthful of water. It wiped out physical and mental tiredness of Shanku. Bidhushekar did not come out of the rocket. When Shanku asked the reason, he uttered only one word in frightening sound, danger. They had the extremely fearing experience on Mars. Next morning, a strong fishy smell hit the nose of Shanku, and he heard a strange sound as if a large-sized cricket was chirping. He looked around and saw Prahlad's eyes were swelling outwards and his right arm was wrapped around Newton. He was running towards the rocket. The humans, the creatures that was chasing him was not human, nor an animal or a fish. It was 4 to 5 feet high, had legs and feet, but instead of arms, there were huge fins like fish. It had a very big head in the center of which was a single large green eye, a big mouth with no teeth. Whole body was covered with skin of fish which was sparkling in the sun. The creatures could not run fast. They lost their balance almost at every step. Bedhu swung his arm and hit the creature, and they fall on the ground with a big cry. Shanku was afraid about the anger of Martian army, so he dragged his robot into the rocket. When Shanku was about to shut the door, he felt something cold and slightly wet against his feet. He did not understand about the fact that who started the rocket and where were they headed for. His robot forced him to open the window. When he opened the shutter of the window, he was surprised to see an endless stretch of bright bubbles in the sky forming and bursting. Suddenly, Bidhu shouted about a bright white planet named Tafa and rushed to the window. Shanku followed him and looked out. There was nothing except a bright white planet which was clear and pure like a full moon. Now Tafa was clearly visible from the rocket. They could see millions of blinking lights on its surface as if they were countless fireflies glowing in the dark, which illuminated the cabin of their rocket. When they reached on Tafa, a large number of people had gathered and welcomed them. Such people had large head and eyes but thin arms and legs. These creatures were totally ancient like our human civilization. Such creatures disappeared into the holes, but they had given a proper house to Shanku and his companions to live in. Now Shanku wanted to stop writing his diary, but there was no way of sending his diary back to Earth, which had a lots of valuable information. After reading Shanku's diary, the author made a copy of the entire diary and dropped it off at the press for printing. When he returned home and wanted to see the original one, he saw that nearly 100 hungry ants had eaten the entire diary. It was hard to believe what he saw because it had seemed completely undesirable, unbreakable, and not to be destroyed. That's all about the summary of the chapter, which tells us about the strange space experiences on Mars of Professor Shanku through his diary. At the end of the chapter, I want to tell you that space travel has now become a reality. On December 13, 2018, Virgin Galactic Suborbital Spaceliner VSS Unity, which has already made 2 trips to the edge of the space. The company has also received deposit of $250,000 from 600 future passengers. Sir Richard Branson intends to make the journey on July 24, 2019, the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing moon. So, it has become a reality. I hope you all enjoyed the lesson. And students, it's a very good habit to write a diary. It makes us revive our past experiences. So, you must write a diary. Thank you and have a nice day.